As a part of our Storytellers Initiative, we are sharing the story of the Dr. John. John Matsushima spent much of his life teaching and doing research in animal science. He taught at CSU for about 30 years and at that time developed innovations in the cattle feeding industry that are still used around the country and world today.
Today, Dr. John is 104 years old. He's traveling around the state and sharing his story with kids. He's also dropping some knowledge about cattle whenever he can.
We're joined, incredible. We're joined this afternoon by Rachel Gabel, is that correct?
Gabel.
Gabel,
Yep,
Gabel, thank you. An author who wrote a children's book about Dr. John's story. First of all, Rachel, thank you for being here. You were kind of telling us a little bit in the break about Dr. John, but from your perspective, I mean, who was he? Tell us about his life.
Well, he's amazing. He's 104, and right now he's on tour to all of the Colorado classrooms that are using this book to learn a little bit about the cattle industry. And he was he's a teacher first and foremost, and he taught at the college level for 50 years, and he was an innovator. He came up with a number of things that we use today, 60 years later in the cattle feeding business, that there's not many industries that we can say that. You know, look at telephones or computers, something like that, but he's a teacher and he's a student as well.
And I love that he's going to different schools, and I know that your son has the book. Right? We actually have a copy of the book. T, come on over here. Look at T dressed to impress.
Oh, yes! I saw the tip.
Wow.
This
is the book.
This is the book, and it's illustrated by Liz Bandman. This is a one about T that he brought up. So Liz Bandman Munster Tiger illustrated the book and really went to great lengths to make sure that it's historically accurate. So there's a scene where he's eating breakfast with some of the cattle feeding legends back in the 1960s in Nebraska. And that was where he ordered oatmeal and decided that, oh, maybe the cattle on feed would also like a warm breakfast.
Wow.
And it is accurate down to the silverware that he's eating his oatmeal with. And Liz did a beautiful job.
Did anything surprise you about him?
He surprises me all the time. I ask him, we've spoken hundreds of times, and he loves to video chat and loves to talk to T, of course. And he's told me lots of stories, and I'll ask the same questions over and over to see if he'll give me more of a story. And we were at Prairie School up in New Raymer, which is a pretty rural school, of course. And he came up with some stories that I'd never heard. And I said, Dr. Matsushima, have you been holding out on me? And he said, we've all got to have our secrets.
That is so sweet. And in your book, you talk about his struggles, too, during World War II. Can you tell us a little bit about the historical elements there?
Absolutely. He grew up poor in Weld County. Of course, he's a Japanese American. His father came here from Japan with very little. And he grew up with very little. And he actually learned about cattle from some heifers that his dad had purchased back when all of the cattle essentially were sold down at the stockyards in Denver, where the National Western is now. And he was feeding them wormy cabbage from their farm, and that's how he discovered that cattle don't have top teeth. And that's how he became interested in it. And of course, he was at CSU, which was A&M at the time, and he was there during World War II. And of course, Colorado was the home of Amachi, which was the internment camp, which of course he didn't have to go to because our Colorado Governor Ralph Carr was opposed to the internment camps. But he dealt with a lot of poor treatment when he was at A&M and was not allowed into a lot of businesses. And his livestock judging teammates would bring him groceries on Friday nights and eat outside with him when he wasn't allowed in a cafe.
Wow. True allies there, and it's important for all of us to know that history. Really quickly, we don't have much time, but talk to us about the Colorado Agriculture program here in Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado Agriculture in the Classroom program. I've been very lucky. I called Jennifer Sharpie, who is the executive director, several years ago and said, I have an idea, and I want to write a book about sheep and grazing and Western Colorado and the Greek herders. And she probably thought, oh, if you can get that all in a kid's book, more power to you. But we got her done. And so I think this is my fourth Ag in the Classroom book. And volunteers go and read, and it comes with curriculum, and it's free. And we have a high school version now. And so kids can learn about agriculture no matter if they're in Metro Denver or out in rural Colorado, where a lot of kids are still would benefit from that.
Such important history that I feel like a lot of kids, I mean, people our age, I learned so much
me
during this
too.
interview, and we're going to be able to learn so much more at 4 and 9 as well.
I'm excited
Through
for
our
you to see
story.
him at 4 and 9.
Yay!
Awesome. Rachel Gabel, thank you so much. And thank you for sharing this
Of
incredible
course.
story.
Thank you.